by the way, Jay, the signs you're doing, you can give me the right holders for them.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you one.
Well, next time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I hope you have some answers for some. Is this typical for the month or
How you doing?
Bad.
Yes, sir. Y'all ready to go?
Yep. Okay.
Call ready to call them.
All right, ready to go.
Okay. Agenda. Opening comments related to the agenda. Want to talk about our bond.
Oh, no, this is regular close.
Okay, want to talk about our bond covenants and do a little explanation on that. Eric Nicholson brought that up in the commission meeting, further explanation. Look at volumes, review where we are with the two benchmarking projects, really what we have, the Liability and the Freedom project. Do a high-level overview of the 2007 planning, which means budgeting and schedule. You guys know what to expect from the commission standpoint. Go over financial results. Jay will get an update on the East Campus property, and Kim will be here to talk about the accountable care programs through the overlay provider network.
How about for the med standards committee? What is, look at the nursing farms, so.
Oh, sorry, Steve, I need that little USB. Sorry.
Turn on someone?
No, I just need to plug it in.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. There's a second.
Okay, should work now.
No, it's not.
It worked just the other day.
You want to?
Point it at more at this, I think.
Well, you can just,
Go.
you can advance the slides.
Yeah, all right, let me see.
Try it one more time with feeling.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to talk about our bond covenants, which are financial performance targets we have committed to a bondholder, to individuals and firms that bought our revenue bonds that we have to meet. The first one is called a coverage requirement, which is computation of how much income or debt service we have in relation to the maximum debt service throughout the life of the revenue bonds. Eric Nicholson talked about this in the board meeting, and there was some confusion. And he referenced a number of 4.4 million, which is that. And that is the amount of income available to cover debt service. It's not our net income on our financial statements, but the amount of income available for debt service that we are required to produce. And what we're required to produce is 120% of our debt service. That's the 4.4 million. Right now, we have income available for debt service. If you annualize it, look at 2016 in total through June's lens, 4.9 million. and a coverage ratio of 1.34. So we are right at this point exceeding the ratio. And that number is the number that is driven by our bottom line on our financial statements. And then you add back in interest expense, depreciation, subtract out taxation for bond and principal and interest, and arrive at that. So that's where we are right now. That's the first covenant we have, financial target. Val, you want to? The next one is we're required to keep a reserve with the trustee, U.S. Bank, of $3.675 million. We have that on the books. So that's fine. And the next, Val, next is what's called a liquidity requirement, and that's a fancy way of saying we have to keep a certain amount of cash unrestricted. That means that it's not committed to pay for debt or the bond holders. It can be restricted by the board, but bondholders consider it unrestricted. We're required to have a cash balance in the bank of $3.952 million, and as of the end of June, we have $7.542 million. So we have substantially exceeding that one. The requirement stated in days cash on hand, and we have 95.42 days cash on hand. What that means is that we have cash that has a value of 92 days worth of our normal expenses in the bank. So we're going over these every month to see where we are.
Mr. Collins, what are they?
I'm sorry.
Is it
The one on
carried
the
on this
left
line?
is where we ended the year,
That's the end of 15.
end of 15,
The right is
and the one on the right is where we are right now.
Annually?
Annual. This is not annual, this is just the amount of cash we have in the bank.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a snapshot.
That's
You
the
see it on our
total amount
balance
of
sheet.
cash we have in the bank?
What?
That's the total or
No,
just
that's
restricted?
unrestricted.
Unrestricted.
Unrestricted cash. That's what the board can access through management, obviously. 7.5. Okay, next.
Is that equal to what we projected to be in the unrestricted side of cash?
That's
at
actually
this time?
above what we projected. Our cash position is good, which is the first time in 7 years I can say, and that one doesn't beat me with it. Tom, you have stats?
Yeah, the charts that we've been using for the past few months, and thanks again for putting this together. I'll just take it chart by chart with some information. I apologize for the very pottery glasses.
Tom, you look good in those body glasses.
All right.
They're more stylish than mine.
Our referrals, so first one I want to talk about is average daily census. Average daily census is strong. When we get into P&L and we talk about payer mix, I'll report a little bit more on that, on the mix and Medicaid, but overall our census is strong. Our referrals have been very high. We're up 23% in the first 6 months compared to last year's average. We've seen growth in our same-day referrals in 3 categories. One is the number of Medicaid referrals that we're getting. Of course, those end up in a denial. The other is medical denials, where patients just don't fit the profile for services. Either they don't qualify because they don't have the kind of medical needs, they don't have enough medical needs, or and we're seeing a lot of behavioral overlays with patients that were not set up for patients that would be really needing geriatric psych. So
I mean, psych or is it dementia or is it they need a
geropsych unit.
So it's a lot. Okay.
third category, which is a great category, is what I call accepted plus capacity denials. So what this means is patients that, this is the addition, we take all the patients that we accept, doesn't mean they actually come, but they fit all the criteria, plus anybody that we say, no, you can't come here because we don't have any room. That group has also been growing, and that's really what's contributed to our census being strong. Just a note, I wanted to talk about the fact that we had mentioned early in the year, looking at the comprehensive joint replacement program, and that there were some of our patients who were coming to us who were full joint patients that may not come because of the comprehensive joint replacement program and the bundled payments with Medicare. So I took a look at the number of joint replacement patients we admitted to a swing bed program from January through March. For the first quarter, we admitted 4. And after the joint program was implemented, April, May, and June, we also saw 4, and we'll continue to track on this. This is consistent with what we believe about the total joint work that we do, and that is patients who have the overlay of complex medical comorbidity. This is not a straightforward joint patient that is in, has a 1 or 2 day stay, and then is discharged. These are patients that have more acuity and are a great match for our program. And then lastly, on the graph of data census, where are the referrals coming from? We continue to see strong referrals out of Swedish Issaquah and Overlake, and those are our major contributors to the referral volume. Taking a look at the emergency department, we are, as you can see, we're under budget. Our volumes are really level with what they were this time last year. We projected that we would be capturing more of the total emergency room business in our market, and we're just not hitting that projection at this point. A note on that is that we hear anecdotally people say, I don't know about your emergency department, so the more and more we can bring people to the hospital, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later today under category other, and just get top of mind with people that will be helpful. One of the things that we'll see happen this month is the erection of our signs on the parkway, and we'll get a lot more eyes on the reality of where their hospital is with those 2 signs going up. Imaging, strong. Actually, what's been really gratifying about imaging is to see their volume of. There are 3 categories of imaging volume. One is related to our inpatient use. The other is outpatient scheduled procedures, and the other is related to the emergency department. And we've seen strong numbers both in outpatient and in emergency department source for imaging. Endo continues to be strong. Clinic is down primarily due to us being down 1.5 providers compared to this time last year. And outpatient rehab, while last month wasn't high volume overall for the year, we continue to see strong volume in outpatient rehab, and we're just about to launch a new marketing effort in outpatient rehab. Those are my notes. If you have any questions, go on volume.
What are we going to sit about addressing that later?
Yeah.
If you're going to address it later, that's fine, but that's my big question.
Yeah. One of the things that I'd like for us to decide on in our strategic planning is what is the direction we want to go with respect to, we want to grow the clinics, and we want to invest in the clinics. What's needed in order to replace and grow our clinic presence. As you know, clinic and clinics are lost leaders wherever you go.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and yet they are today's and most especially in our future the source of growth. Under ACO, they will one day be the source of revenue. Both inpatient, what Medicare pays for inpatient care will actually find its way through to us through primary care physicians. And so, that's a really strategic play for us. The challenge is, are we willing to invest now in what feels like a loss leader in order to assure that we have secured that source of revenue, and that is the relationship between primary care physicians and folks in the community. So we did, that's on all of our lists to talk about.
And, well, the revenue source of this is, corner, it is your touch points with communication. Is through your clinic system. The clinic system, our clinic system, we have upwards of 200,000 contacts every year. And so if you want to grow those contact points, those are individual patients, those are the number of patient visits that we have over the course of the year. So strategically, we're looking at, do we want to grow those touch points? We want to extend our presence into the community, including separate investments here. So that's a lot of something.
Well, one of the things I've raised for the last over 1 year, trying to get, and Ariel's also had the same experience. It's not easy to get appointments in the clinics. And for a variety of reasons. And it's been over a year since I made this suggestion that we need to do something about that. Have we actually had do overflow scheduling at the hospital? Because as recently as a few months ago, that was not done.
Until they've been to a new hospital, there's overflow scheduling, they share patients back and forth. What often happens is the patient will accept that overflow offer. They only want to see who they call in to see. And so they don't want to accept another offer.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm talking about at all. What I'm talking about is people call and they can't get anyone to answer the phone or call them back. And that has been an ongoing problem. Two times I've used clinics, and other reasons I believe that you didn't have scheduling for. And so that to me would be a big source of why our clinic volumes are down. And if you're not going to answer the phone or take the scheduled appointment, you're not going to have someone. So what's been done about that since I've been complaining about that for over a year?
So those are all ongoing work that's happening with the new hiring process with the scheduling position, because the current schedule is over 200 phone calls a day. So the rate of scheduling is the number of calls actually data generate. Yes, there's a measurement that's been going on return calls, so we have pretty few, not non-existent compared to this point in time, but much fewer about the that we need to. But I don't know what the timing is of the efforts that you're doing, but definitely ongoing.
So ongoing meaning, have we actually had overflow to the hospital? We actually have an overflow line when we don't answer the phone at the clinic?
The calls are all answered centrally. When you make a phone call to make an appointment, you're not calling. You think you dialed the number to one clinic or the other, but you're actually going to the single scheduler. That single scheduler is actually located at the hospital, but you don't know that. They left for example.
Tom, I know you said you were going to look in to see what, if maybe we needed another, part-time person during peak hours, mornings, or something like when people are trying to schedule.
Right. We've actually posted that position and we're recruiting for it. It's a hybrid position. It helps both with the intake or the scheduling. Also does the insurance authorization primarily for imaging. And once we hire that position, that will help imaging grow as well, because we'll be able to message to all the referring physicians. We're taking that on ourselves and worry about insurance authorization for
providers.
1.5.
1.5.
So our numbers are reflective of not as many providers.
As well
So
as,
remember, when you're looking here, you're looking at budget, and budget was crafted around working by providers.
so how long are we gonna stay at that 1.5 less providers? Are we recruiting?
No, we're not recruiting because, we need to get to a strategic planning because at this point in time, I got kind of mixed messages coming at me in this regard. In that, saying, when's the money I need to see the loss less than, and a strong line was put down saying, and the way you save money, when you don't replace that later. That's, I think, part of the expense. But to be able to grow, you gotta be able to grow.
So we could replace those providers. We've actually grown the existing providers and we're getting to that point now where existing providers are really full.
How many full-time would we have for working clinics? How many? Yep.
Six.
6.5?
7.5.
7.5.
6.5, sorry.
So, 1,087 visits divided by 6.5. I'm trying to figure out how many you're saying are full. I'm just going to calculate this to see, and I understand there may be somebody on vacation every other month, but I'm just trying to figure out how many. So it's 167 patient visits per provider per month. Divided by what, 21 days, working days, or more, 22 days? Is approximately 8 visits per day. I don't know. 20, 21 days, working days. So it's 8 visits per day.
Yeah, I know you did the math,
Let's
but we'll have to work it out, but there's
bring
some
some
cost.
facts.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be full to me to see 8 visits per day.
Depends on what kind of visits you have also.
No one's seeing 8 patients a day, with the exception of if you go to a nursing home, 8 patients a day. So, let's go back and get trained to the numbers that they actually.
Should be more like somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would think you'd see about average 15 patients a day.
More than that. For primary care, it would be
Maybe 20.
18 to 20 days of primary care. Geriatrics is less.
I'm just thinking with vacations and everything, 15.
There was something.
Yeah, vacation and whatnot, average kind of per day.
How long do you think it takes for the average patient, just figuring an average for a doc to come in, read the chart, have a good discussion with the patient, deal with the issue? Is that a 20-minute, 30-minute?
We allow for a standard visit is a 30-minute visit. Okay, so there are 15, 30, 45 is minute visits. 30 is considered standard. 15 is urgent care or basic growth. 45 is for physical, and 60 is complex or specialty visit.
I've never been in a doctor's, talking with a doctor for more than 10 or 15 minutes in my life.
So your visit is a combination of getting roomed, the physician seeing you, and the after physician visit issues and rejection.
But that's not the time that the provider actually spends, right?
Well, so the provider has to walk away and give a report, log it in for you right after you.
Providing you a review of the story or chart, and you make part from the
how to get the data in.
Placing orders, there's a few workers. It is hard to see the big picture when you only get eyes onto one portion of it. Yeah.
You know, I know doctors that see 40 a day. And so I know that I would like to have something, I would like to have that presented, information presented to the board, along with, our benchmarking system that I thought that was going to be, so maybe that could be in combination of that.
Just to follow the reminders, to set reminders, all the providers are constantly benchmarked their productivity standards are benchmarked on a national level. They're held accountable to the same benchmark that we do as an organization. Doing 50% higher nationwide. So everybody, all of those stats do a long time.
Yeah, I see this as 8 per day, that's what I get for last month, so.
And part of the benchmarking standards are not visits per day, it's the amount of, there's a work here, so that goes to incorporate those that have a greater amount of work in a visit, and those that are shorter amount of work in a visit, so you can give the same weight to each of those single visits.
Now, are you figuring your numbers with just physicians, or are you doing for all the staff in there?
No, just the provider.
The provider.
Yeah. We may need another staff person for phone.
I'd rather get another staff person for phone.
So, yeah, operating that position is open, it's been interviewed for, it's not taken full, but it is open.
I don't like to micromanage, but I mean, we're trying to delve into what the problem is, and it's been a problem for quite some time that I see, that I've been on this board. And, you know, when I figure out 1,000 visits per month, we're way down. We were at one time almost 2,000, when I know we don't have providers anymore, but we had 2,000 visits at one point per month. And we're so far down, I think this is the main entry point to this hospital. And how can we grow any outpatient services without that strong clinic? And if we're down and down and down and down and doing, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Sounds well with all of it.
You know, cannot do it.
And remember, another one of the big downs is women's health, because of the women's clinic, didn't replace their services, so there's a certain chunk that we won't expect to capture. But that's not all of it, that's not the one and a half now. That's another one.
How many Medicaid patients do we have now in our inpatient?
Today?
So that hasn't changed.
Oh, that's changed.
Well, that's what we had before.
Get the pick, well, I mean, and look at every single day of the year, so more for.
That's fine.
Tom, is there any significant downtrend in any of the primary service areas, particularly between Snoqualmie and North Bend?
When you say down, volume down?
Right.
I'm sorry, say more,
Good.
I'm trying to make sure I understand the question.
How much population from North Bend is the district getting, both in terms of outpatient?
I don't have the zip code counts, so I have
Down one. So that's the detailed display on what we talked about. Yeah. We'll talk about our benchmarking programs. We had daily study, which Tom's going to talk about, and then I'll talk about the proven benchmarking. You guys, this is a verbal, so there's nothing specific in the back.
So you know, we launched our first round of benchmarking with the allocated project in 3 specific departments. We have med-surg inpatient and plans, proposed staffing plans in order to get to the benchmark. We presented those to the nurse staffing committee with regard today. Just so you know, what is the nurse staffing committee? Nurse staffing committee is a required committee. Every hospital in the state must have a nurse staffing committee, and its major purview is to review with management the staffing plans for every nursing staff unit in the hospital. It is made up of staff and management as required by the statute, and you have to have at least 50% of that unit made up by staff. We have had a very active nurse staffing committee over the years and used their input in putting together staffing grids, staffing plans, and also we have that group take a look at what's called nurse-sensitive quality indicators. These are being staffing. So we look at every single error that occurs in the hospital that may have something to do with staffing, and we ask the group to review those errors to validate whether or not there was a staffing related issue for those errors. So it's not just looking at the staffing grids, but we look at the quality control. So we presented the plan to that group. We solicited a lot of feedback, and we tweaked some of the plans for the feedback that we received. And today we go out to the staff with a survey on the major option, which is, do we move to a mix of 8 and 12-hour shifts in order to get to the benchmark, or do we just go all 8s? Currently, on med-surg units, we have all 12-hour shifts. In order to get to the benchmark, what we realized is that a mix of 8s and 12s, or going to all 8s, was really necessary for us to do that. And because what essentially we're doing is we're moving hours from the night shift to the day shift. Night shift, where we really feel like we have more resources that we need, and we're moving some, and of course not all, because we have to reduce some hours in order to get to the benchmark. But in order to get to the benchmark, we've got to move some of those hours across shifts. The option that looks like it may be the easiest for us to manage long term is moving to all 8-hour shifts. But we want staff input on that, so we're gathering that this week. The plan is that after we receive that, we have our next nurse staffing committee is on the 10th. We're going to report back on the findings and the final plan, and then we will go into what's called shift bid, and that's where all the staff have the opportunity to express what shifts that they want. Shift bidding begins August 11th, and we'll have the new schedule launched on September 1st. We really go month to month. We treat the staff schedule as month-long chunks. So that's for med-surg. In the emergency department, it's a little simpler implementation than that. The change with RN is just a reduction of think of it as a swing shift, an afternoon, early evening shift. And so that we're implementing on August 14th. And then we'll also have a new tech schedule in the emergency department starting September 1st. And that will also result in a reduction, of course, of layoff.
What would you say you were going to add? What kind of staff?
That's the tech, ED tech position.
So how far are we off on the benchmark on the ER and med-surg?
So in the emergency department, we were, the benchmark is 4 hours per patient visit, in ED, and we were at about 5, on memory, so we were about 5.6 hours per visit. So we're reducing hours significantly to get to the 4.0. In the, on the med-surg unit, the benchmark is 10 hours per patient day. We're a little closer there on that one. We were right around 12.5 hours per patient day.
And that, when you say hours per patient day, that's how much one face-to-face staff with patients.
Staff hours.
No,
It's staffing per patient.
Per
So
patient.
working hours.
per patient.
Not-
So,
not-
so,
It's not case-to-case.
okay, so how do you, some patients are gonna need more direct patient care than other patients. So how do you compensate, or how does that work in the formula?
Well, it plays out in the daily schedule, who's assigned to what, and taking a look at the acuity of the patients, and providing each nurse, CNA team with a mix of patients who require more and patients who require less. So,
Well, I would think too that would depend on the nurses, because some nurses can, or staff, for the usually techs or for the, some can handle more patients than others efficiently. I mean, it just depends on the individual too.
but yeah, true that, but it tends to be, fairly even, distribution of patients per nurse.
And the assignments are not.
I know.
Your CNA needs something there, or this PA measure that you're like.
So to effect a transition to the next point, and that's Steve's gonna take that, and that's Truven. One of the advantages of Truven is that we don't spend as much time as we did with liability, making sure that the comparisons truly were apple to apple comparisons. We did a lot of work with our management team, in nursing and liability, scrubbing numbers, making sure that we were comparing like to like. And that's really what Truven brings. They do that day in and day out. They put that in the formula. And
What
so
you're saying is they know what they're doing and they can do it quicker.
they try to be nice. I mean, I daily, I still trust the numbers. It just took us longer to
Yeah.
get to that confidence point that we were actually looking at apples to apples. And so,
So where's been the response from the staff that now must cope with a little tighter schedule?
concern, clearly concern. In your staff committee a week ago today, there was concern. That said, the managers have done an incredible job of messaging with the staff. Guys, we can do this. This is not anything more than any other hospital is doing in the country. In fact, we're targeting ourselves to be at midpoint, be at least not less efficient than any other hospital within the database. And so the manager's done a great job. We're not hearing a whole lot. It's not revolt. It's just there has been concern expressed, and I expected concerns.
Well, you never have change without some concern,
Right,
and you
right.
never, when expectations start to
Yeah.
climb, you
And-
get a little pushback because they're afraid they'll fail.
Yeah, and the managers reported to me at the end of last week. It makes no sense for us to string this out any longer in the hospital. We really know where we want to put the staff, and we just want to get them past this phase, which I'll just say, Steve's wife has a great term, it's called pre-grieving, and that is worrying about the thing that might happen.
Yeah.
Let's just implement so we can stop worrying about what might happen. And so that's where we're at. I had originally set the goal of the first full pay period in September, so everybody has gone live by that time. And the manager said, that's too long. Let's, and I was trying to give them the opportunity to work through and process with staff, and he said, we see where we need to be, let's just get one.
Big testimony to the relationship between the staff also as a staff at times, being very transparent and saying, here's my concern. I may not be, depending on what exact route we go down, I might not be able to stick this out with you. But just the fact that they're coming and saying, heads up, with my difficulties, I want to, I respect you and I can't, I can do this. So that can help support the transition. But it's a testimony to the community.
But it's not only a testimony to staff is going, or to the managers, but the staff is wanting to be vulnerable, to say, I don't know if I can do this. And usually if you just encourage people a little bit, then they'll,
Yeah, and some of it is, when they come saying those things, it's either out of their control, you know, my life outside of your position in such a way that I can't stand it, and so you know,
And that's the
that's a testament to the relationship, because you
I
didn't
do
have a
recall
relationship, they just
plenty of
told
times
you.
in my life where I had to step it up. And it was not fun, but once I got to the next level, and got used to the whole idea of being at the next level, you know, it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. And
it can be empowering,
And-
all of a sudden you know you can do it.
And I do believe that doing the benchmarking and showing, you know, online managers, the managers here to say, hey, this is, we're not pushing it any farther or harder than anybody else in the country with the same types of cases. To actually see that. And then, you know, this is probably the only way. That's why I really, really wanted to get this benchmarking in there to have you have a tool instead of just directing them to say, hey, you got to step it up. You know, where's this coming from? You know,
I call that blind reduction.
yeah. So it was. I think it was a good way to do this, and hopefully we didn't step on too many toes. And you know, I don't like to have that thing in how it feels. So it's not fun.
Really scary.
And you know, I do care about our people. And I don't want people walking away unhappy or so I think this is probably the only way people will do something like this.
There's going to be discomfort.
Yeah.
But we're trying to minimize that. Like I said, the way to do that is to not drag it out.
Yeah. Do you have any comments, being a group health, that did
No,
you
it-
experience anything like that?
Yes, it feels spot on to me.
Well, it's a great training ground for us, because now we're gonna look organization-wide and get some benchmarks for every department. And last week, we rolled out with the Truman Group at our operations team meeting. I'll let Steve
Yeah,
talk about that.
We had the kickoff meeting with Truman staff for all our managers last Thursday, where the program was explained to them, and the process was explained, how we do make sure that we do a profile of each department, we're comparing apples to apples. That was the biggest question, because if we were not like other hospitals, and there are other hospitals like us in services, especially when you take it down to the department level. We're right now in what I call the build phase. We're building the system. There are 3 words: data to Truman. That's a lot of work for Jim. Jim's doing the majority of the build right now to get our data in a usable form to Truman, so they can put it in their system. And then our managers are working on profiling their departments. What that means is, what does your department look like, so we can pick like to like. So we're not comparing ourselves to Harvard.
It's very formulaic. Truman
Yeah.
gives them an inventory assessment form, and they fill it out, and all it's standardized and goes to their database.
And getting the manager involvement in that process is going to be very important to make them feel that the tool is useful and I can be able to ask questions.
Jim, I'm sure you're not looking forward to all this extra work, but we appreciate it.
I am looking
He's
forward
actually,
to it.
Yeah.
Jim likes it.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Jim.
all right.
Something really different?
Jim's been, let's say, chomping at the bit for a
Yeah.
while.
Okay. What's your take right now?
Oh, I've worked with him before, so I have a good, I think it's gonna be great. You know, it's gonna be a lot of work, you know, I'm optimistic about it.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. behind the scenes on this, right?
Well, as far as the data, and I am a project coordinator, so I'm gonna help the managers along with the proven representatives and navigate their characteristic surveys and their normalization surveys, which they use, which is what they use to get apples to apples. And then I help them with the data collection as well, so.
Okay. So we'll be hearing more about that, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. We'll update you monthly.
So we'll show you in the schedule for this fall, where this true work is.
So the September board meeting, you'll probably have pretty close to
The release date for the proven information is September 12th.
Show the first quarter results.
Yeah, so what we want to do is integrate that into our budgeting process as well as operational
Okay.
practices.
All right,
For
so we'll be able to do
2017.
that for the budget, we'll be able to use this. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Timeline that we put together, how that works.
I'm glad we were able to get this
Yes.
at the last second, I know. But there was a
No?
little complaint at the end. So.
You guys asked good questions about the contract, thank you.
All right, good.
All right.
Good.
So, what's next? Just an overview of our 2017 planning, which should read budget. This is not in your packet, I'm just giving you a verbal. David?
Yeah, it's in packet.
Is it in the packet? Okay,
Yep,
all right.
I have it.
Oh, it's, okay, that's
It's in the
live.
slide.
We're beginning the budget process September 1st. It's a bottoms-up budget, which means it's done at the manager level. So we don't dictate to a manager their department staffing. They'll take proven into account. We're going to integrate the benchmarking data into the process. The initial budget will be sent to the Finance Committee 10 days before the Finance Committee meeting. That is, so you will get the initial budget with the write-up and set on October 21st. My idea, proposal is that then Tom and I and Jim have a working session with the Finance Committee sometime around October 25th, so we can answer your questions in detail and, you can go dig through and answer all the questions, get back to you.
Yeah, no, I'm getting it 10 days before the finance committee meeting is great. That way, you really take a look at it, and then we can be prepared to actually talk.
And the target will be to present the budget report on the initial presentation on October 31st, have the budget hearing on November 3rd. I'm sorry, present the board on November 3rd, the budget hearing on November 10th, and then the budget will be sent to the county on November 14th.
So when don't we have to vote on that and pass that, so when would that
That's at
happen?
the budget hearing.
That's what I thought.
It's a special meeting, on the budget.
So that's good. Then the rest of the board will have our recommendation from the finance committee a week before November 3rd.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll do a presentation on that day to the board,
So
on the budget.
The whole board will have 2 weeks before the budget hearing, basically, to look at the budget.
We're gonna present to the board on the 3rd, so I have
On
1
the
week.
3rd,
David.
that's fine.
The 3rd to the 7th.
No, we always get it a week before.
Oh, so they'll have, they won't have a week after the presentation, but they'll get the budget.
Budget hearing is a week after
Right.
the board. The whole board gets the proposed board packet a week
Yes.
before.
Yeah, they'll have the packet.
No?
Oh, I did, 31st.
No.
So should be a couple days after the 25th.
David,
Looks like a week and a half, because I would want to put it in the.
Yeah,
So basically,
Right, I just
yeah,
wanna
the
make sure.
31st will be kind of after that. We'll go back, make
I
changes,
just
so.
wanna make sure we don't have any complaints for the rest of the board about not getting
Say
this.
they'll have it at least 1 week before. That would be a safe assumption, and the finance committee has done their due diligence to work with staff and go over the budget. That's the process, not pretty soon.
Okay.
Well, okay, look at now we're going to financial results with it. Unrestricted cash, page 12 of your packet. We have 7.5 million in unrestricted cash. So cash position is strong. We have not, that report was with a snapshot before we issued the payment to Medicare we talked about last week of 982,000. So you're down to about 6.5 or so. Yeah. But still, that's plenty of cash. It's more cash than we had. That meets the bond covenants and meets our needs. Obviously, we want a positive bottom line to keep building there.
I've got a question. I thought we're supposed to continue to keep building up cash, but it looks like it went up real fast. I think it was.
It'll go up and down based on.
Well, it should be in a line going up like this, right?
It should be.
But it's not.
It should
So
be.
that's what my question was. Where are we supposed to be in our projections?
Oh, we are well above where I
I
think
thought we were supposed to have 10 million in cash by the end of the year. 11
No.
million.
6. The
We had
unrestricted
7
cash.
at the end of the year.
Yeah,
How
no,
can
we have been outperforming the 5-year projections on unrestricted cash substantially ever since we issued the governing bond.
Yeah.
So, no, I believe the revenue bond projection number is 6.3. I'd have to check that.
I really thought that we were supposed to have.
No. I'll send you the exact number.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm 87.5% sure on that one.
We should side
How
by
do you
side.
come up with that number?
It makes people pay attention when I say it.
We should side by side that number.
Okay, yeah, we can put a line on what
That'd be
the
great,
5-year
because then
forecast
that'll
was.
make me feel better
Yeah.
if we're way above it, and the public will feel
Okay.
better about it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, good, we'll put a line on that. Now, you wanna go forward? Total cash, 14.1 million, that includes the restricted cash for bond payments and stuff.
And that went down because we made a bond payment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
bond payment.
Because are we doing bond payments twice a year now?
No, we do revenue bond payments to the trustee monthly. That's the biggest check you see on your checklist. We pay out of taxes, we pay that 2 times a year. This is kind of complicated. The revenue bond payments go from the trustee to the bondholders twice a year, but we pay every month on the revenue bonds. We pay every month $305,000.
Well, I'm just looking at this and it didn't go down because we're making monthly payments, because we can make monthly payments. So what, it went down $1 million, not because.
It actually went up. David,
But we
it
still
went-
make the LTGO
It
payment.
was still going to be LTGO payment, because we made an
So
LTGO
is that the
payment.
June payment?
Yeah.
It's twice a year?
Yes, twice a year for the LTGO,
Okay, LTGO,
yeah.
not the bond.
not the revenue.
Yeah,
They're
That's
both
what I
bonds.
was trying to clarify.
Yeah.
because
They're all bonds.
They're all bonds.
They're all bonds.
I'd like to keep them separate, but that are
Yeah.
operational revenue.
When we say bonds, that refers to both tax-based and revenue-based. So we have 2 sets of bonds. Our bottom line is called loss. Well, it's what we've been talking, I have a pointer, don't I?
Steve, this.
Yeah, the pointer
does
works on
work.
that thing, thank you.
It's not-
We're supposed to.
Yeah.
Because we're paying the
We
bonds,
were
or?
projected.
We were projected to have a loss,
Of
This
about
year.
400,000, right?
something like that.
370.
Probably.
Something like that.
I'll give you,
Oh, that's right. I thought we had to.
Keep that in mind every month. No.
so about 400,000 was our projected loss. The monthly loss budget was 35, so about 400,000.
So when it says year to date, what does that mean?
That means from January through June.
So we'll need to get 250 grand by the end of the year to come out to where we were supposed to be.
To come out to where the 5-year projection
So we
We're
need
looking
to,
at about 150 grand. Yeah,
You, exactly.
yeah.
We need to fix one big problem, payer
What was that?
mix. Payer mix.
Payer mix in the inpatient unit.
Yeah, I
So-
didn't realize that, and you're gonna be talking about that shortly.
Right now.
Okay. I mean, that's our biggest issue when you look at our profit and loss. If you look at expenses, we're, I think, below budgeted expenses.
So, will we get some, help on expenses with benchmarking? Absolutely. But more so than that, we need to, continue the work that we started, a couple months ago on payer mix. And it's really around the Medicaid, patient population in our swing bed program. If you look at the first 3 months of the year, and that's not right.
Okay,
The first 3 months of the year, our financial performance was good. We had on average 3.5 Medicaid inpatients per day.
3.5?
3.5, January through March. If you look at April through June, second quarter, our average number of Medicaid patients was 5.0 census. Significant increase in the number of Medicaid days in the second quarter. And you've heard me talk about the dynamics of that. You know, why does that happen? We have had patients who have either admitted as Medicaid, very few of those. We've had patients who have converted to Medicaid from Medicare. We have been also working more assertively with the discharge planning for our Medicaid patients. We were at one point up to 6 Medicaid patients in-house. We're down now to 4. And our social work department now provides me with a weekly report on the activities related to all, not just our Medicaid, but all of our patients in the discharge planning that they're doing, all the work that they're doing. Without speaking to patients specifically, I wanted to give you a little sketch of where we're at. We have 4 patients currently who are on Medicaid payer in swing bed. We have 1 patient that's actually Jay's working very closely with. We require a petition, and that gets filed on Wednesday.
Well, you the social work today, if
there's
a petition.
First projection was filed on
And what will the
Wednesday.
petition do? A petition for?
Guardianship.
Because we need to have we need to make a placement decision, and yet it's for the same type of review.
Okay.
Which is awful.
So for this patient, guardianship is your answer, not the answer on every patient.
You learn how to do that now?
Going through it.
Let me know. Just went through it myself.
We have another patient, and I think I reported on this one last time. This is a patient who we have contacted now over 150 different locations where this patient might be able to go.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine what the end is, but there is an on that, and that is working with Regency North Bend. We've gotten closer than we've been able to get with any other location, except for one in Bellingham, and here's one. I'll just say, you take the little wins where you can get them. The patient is actually now open to and has been out visiting other locations. That's a huge for her. Change of mindset has been great. I had a meeting on Friday with the regional vice president for Regency with regard to this patient and the relationship we have with Regency. I reminded them of our investment in their facility.
Glad you did.
And what the expectation was around how we work together to affect transfer and help our patients be in the right venue. He agreed to come visit Another patient, has been with us for quite some time due to wound care, challenges. And, as soon as that patient, gets to a point where they only really require, 3, wound, changes per week. Dressing changes, that patient can be ready to go. This has been a very, very complex wound to deal with, it's been months.
Pardon?
And lastly, we have a patient who, we're working closely now with her daughter to, need a solution for her discharge. This patient in particular is excellent for, we've actually, located her to, our dual occupancy room. In a slight effort to say, get her accustomed to that kind of living
Environment, she
that
cannot
environment.
have her own room,
Right.
her own
And,
space.
and get her accustomed to that, because that's likely to be what she'll be doing when she leaves the hospital. So there's a weaning process for her as well. So those are our core medications.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, I got the guardianship one, the one that's going to Regency, the one that you're working with your daughter, and who's the other one that I missed?
Well,
Yeah.
and of course, as I mentioned last time, we don't bring any Medicaid patients into the Swim Care program in order to, we can turn the faucet off there, and now we're just working through these areas.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume that if we were able to get down to 2 within the last 4 months of the end of the year, that we'd be doing, that we would be better.
Absolutely. And we goal, 3, if we average 3 between now and the rest of the year, that's better than we were the first year. So I agree, getting down to 2 is great. I didn't mention, and let me go back, and this is not necessarily related to this patient population, but it is related to one of the things that benchmarking brought out, and that is how we deal with patients who require sitters. We've had a lot of sitter hours this year, and taking a closer look at the criteria for sitter. And we're right now, we've been up to a place where we had 4 or 5 patients on sitter. We're down to 1 patient, 1 sitter, and Rachel Weber is working on criteria for sitter that will look and feel a lot like how we do for strength, where you need to place an order, you need to get approved for sitter. There's frequent and periodic evaluation of the need for sitter, so we don't just go on forever with the sitter when it needs not.
Do you think you've tried somewhere nobody's asked the question?
Oh, yes.
And
Oh, sure.
they've just been here and
Sure. Yeah.
they just forget that little issue.
We're sure that.
First considers the holder for when he actually
Are we able to,
Got it.
based on our configuration, our room configuration, do any, have you ever looked into any like detox types of inpatient stays? Can we even do it based on the way we are? There, I've talked to almost every one of the small hospitals and they'll talk to that do well. They all have their own little detox portion. Remember we talked about that and he said it was the most lucrative part that they could potentially for outpatient. For some reason, they're only in there for 2 days. They cannot for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. You only can be in there for a certain amount of time. Well,
I just don't think about that.
no. I know it's just something to look at based on other, some other CEOs that I talked to at that small hospital conference. And, the one in particular said the best generator. They have a separate wing for the than they have out there.
That, yeah, was the
Standard.
standard. And you led with the right, one of the questions that asked was, how would we be different?
Wherever we put,
Well,
what would we?
it's something that we should maybe look at, and, you know, just this, we are looking at strategic planning, so, you know.
And we do have an issue in the valley with drugs and alcohol.
We do, and that was one of the main needs for patients that way, so. I know that I travel at least 4 times a year, send folks out to work. It's awfully expensive. It's a private agency, and if they get $3,000, you know, for a very short stay.
That was my important fairness.
Yeah, and what Tom
That's very
said,
important.
you see in our revenue decrease, that's the impact of the patient. Any other questions? I mean, our expenses, the month, 3% below, salaries, 4% below, year to date, 2 and 1% below. So the benchmarking will have an effect on the expense side, and the managing the mix on the revenue side. So we're improving from both, what I call both ends in the P&L space. Anything? This is big something for our company. Any questions on the profit and loss statement? Before I move on. Val?
I was looking at,
Gonna go back, Val?
yeah, the page 4,
Yeah.
and I was looking at, I thought you said we were only off by 150,000, according to this, we're off by.
Well, that's the budget.
That's
Yeah,
We're talking compared to, ideally.
compared to iDaily's projections, what we have for the end of the year. That's what reference, the money that reference.
Okay.
About the 400,000 mark. Trying to pull up what iDaily said, Adam. So, any other questions on the P&L? Okay, I'm gonna go forward. Balance sheet, again, cash, that's page 6 in your packet. Shows the 7.5 million in unrestricted and 6.6 million restricted, the mandated reserve fund, that's restricted cash. Accounts receivable, net, looking good. We'll go over the days on accounts receivable. And
Long-term liabilities haven't changed.
no, we haven't borrowed any more money.
Well, it should go down with
We haven't made,
payment.
we haven't made principal.
We haven't paid principal.
On
Paid
the other bonds, so LPGO,
I
right?
believe that was just an interest payment this year, this first payment.
Our existing LPGO,
Yeah, we refinanced the
Yeah, I
LPGO,
don't
if
think
you
we have.
remember.
did we
Yeah, I don't think we have a
refinance all
principal
of them?
payment.
I thought we couldn't refinance one of them.
No,
Well, one of them didn't have any principal due
Yeah.
for quite a while.
yeah. We have made interest-only payments so far this year.
You should send them the.
Val, you wanna go forward?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would help.
I'll send you the schedule. The debt service performance schedule. We are paid as required. And accounts payable is way up. That is about 1.8 million. That's because we had that large receipt payable to Medicare, 980,000 booked as, that's an account payable. You see this number? And what are they doing here? that number has 982,000 of a payable to Medicare from the cost report that we talked about last month. Hadn't been paid at the end of the month, has been paid now. That's why that number is, it's not like we're holding bills. So that's why I want to point that out. That's the biggest change. Val, next. Days in AR, 63.5, went up a little bit, but is in the range where you'd expect between 60 and 65, days in accounts receivable. If you look, if you can remember in January 15, we were at 100 days, so we had still have a generally downward trend in accounts receivable. That's the money that we collect from those we bill.
So you're getting your money quicker.
We're getting our money in the 60 to 65 range.
2 months versus a 3 months.
So averages over
4
3
months.
months, yeah. So, it's about where we would be with our payer mix. And we talked about the commercial insured swing vet patients, takes 180 days for them to because they're large accounts. So, next. And then you guys like to look at other expenses. We're below budget in other expenses. Show. With these categories, other, you say, well, what's in that? So I want to show that to make sure we're up front.
What was the miscellaneous, advertising?
I have no idea. I'd have to,
Advertising has its own.
it has its own breakdown. I could get that for you and send it to you if you want.
Is that like a credit card?
No.
It's miscellaneous.
It's miscellaneous. It's not, it's something you really can't
That's
figure
what it
out.
says.
If it had a category, it'd be in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be something else.
Things you can't find in other categories.
It's miscellaneous.
It's Jim Baldus mileage.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but.
And,
It's
our
miscellaneous.
B&O and taxes, is that,
What you were working on, why you were hired, or just this quarter, or what happened, what made your payment?
No,
You
no.
know, taxes, we got, the Department of Revenue just got done with
They
a
did an audit.
4-year audit. They had a, I don't know what you call they have their own court, Department of Revenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, they had a ruling that managed care, Medicare, and Medicaid revenue is not deductible because it's administered by a third-party administrator who's not the government. So even
Right.
though it's Medicare and
Yeah.
Medicaid revenue, we have to pay B&O tax on it.
So-
Are you kidding?
No.
So for us, it was like $30,000 over 3 years. Can you imagine what Swedish hospital?
Yeah.
It's just a recent.
Yeah.
Or Harvard.
Oh, yeah, anybody, any of the
It's a
big
recent
hospitals.
ruling that they came up with here just in the last.
Small.
And so then they, of course, Department of Revenue gets to do their own rules, so they go back to 2013, 14, and 15, and things.
So it was a,
Well, somebody sued them and lost. That's
yeah, somebody did appeal it and
They appealed
lost.
to the Superior
They
Court.
appealed it and lost, yeah.
they're,
Did they lose in Superior Court?
they lost in the Department of Revenue Court or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the board tax.
Yeah, that's where it really came.
And then it was affirmed in Superior Court.
I don't think it's done that. But we paid it.
Our
Yeah.
lovely state.
So it's a lot of money for the state.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did it
there's a
all.
lot of odd things, like you purchase furniture for your office, you pay taxes on it, then you have to pay taxes again if it gets over a certain amount. Wise, you get paid double tax.
But it's
And
really.
you have to know if you've got anything.
Personal property tax.
And if it goes out, if you buy anything out of state, you pay excise tax.
It's really one of those legal things that the attorney read it and it makes no sense to me
Yeah,
how it's Medicare revenue, but it's not.
because it goes through a third party
Because a
administrator.
third-party
Yeah,
administrator
that's
is
their-
doesn't meet the exact definition of.
Yeah, it's pretty like commercial.
Finding revenue,
Yeah.
wherever they can.
Creating revenue against this.
Speaking of that, I can talk about the surface water management fees.
Oh, yeah, go
It's not,
forward.
it's not a tax liability, it's
No.
it's a surface water management fee. So we had the engineer from, county come out last Monday. We're disputing the percentage of impervious surface.
Okay,
Right now, and it was only a Google map computation where they assessed that us as 5 acres of impervious surface out of our.
so no scientific documentation.
Well, no, they didn't have an on-site visit.
You did,
They did not.
okay.
To get to the 5 acres. So we had them come out, we disputed it, we walked the whole campus, and, you know, there's so much in interpretation.
Because that gravel, they're talking about the gravel being,
The gravel, yeah, they're.
is not impervious.
Right, and there's grass.
Gravel's
there's-
not impervious?
No, because it's horizontal, right, it's compacted.
Well, if it's 3/8 minus, is it 3/8 minus?
Well, what they do is they have a kind of a weighted steel pointy thing that they drop on the ground, and if it goes down far enough, it's considered pervious.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go down far enough, it's considered impervious. So anyways,
So they can do, still classify the impervious, right? Our gravel.
right, even though there's weeds
that's
and
what
grass growing out of, so he's gonna go back and redo the numbers. We'll get if we can drop below, because if we go below 5 acres, we can go down to the next rate class. Right now, we're in the highest rate class because we are 25% of our property is considered
Just take a,
Is
say,
this here or over there?
East Campus.
East Campus, that's what I
I'd just,
thought.
I'd just take a cap and I'd go and take out the gravel.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah, so that's one
We
thing.
talked about
So
However
once we,
much that we need to pick up.
once we recompute the percentage, we go back 2 years and get a credit. And then going forward, we can take steps. We can get our bill down to $100 a year as opposed to right now, it's currently $20,000 a year. If we take a bulldozer and then we have to sow some seeds.
Yeah.
Plant some grass.
Well, you can plant grass on your gravel anyhow.
Yeah.
Just put it on one of the trails that are rarely used and gravel.
Right.
Take your gravel out.
So what we'll do is we'll present all the findings at the facilities committee. Facilities committee then can go and think about what are the recommendations going forward, and then we'll have a recommendation.
Let facilities committee know that finance committee will appreciate that they could do whatever they can to minimize that.
Yeah, let's get that.
We've got the chair of the facilities committee right here.
He's listening.
That's good.
Okay, so yeah, we'll come back to recommendations.
Save 19 grand a year.
Yeah.
So the existing fees, I think after 2013,
Right.
those are good.
We're disputing them, and so once we get the revised percentage, we'll go back and get a credit.
And what timeline are they looking at?
Um,
Whenever they want.
Whatever they want.
If a credit is at stake, then the timeline.
Yeah.
But, well, at least now we've got a good plan going, we'll have a good plan going forward on how to reduce that fee. But it's punitive, it really is, it's just, it's a way to assess property taxes cloaked as a surface water management.
I don't understand, because you can have a, covering that's out of tires, and that's considered, you know, the water will go through it, but it's not gonna make it through rock and sand. That, somehow that does not make sense to me.
It's a cloaked property tax is what it
They
Yeah.
disguised.
Yes. It's,
Some of this is beyond logic.
it's King County.
I-
So, we'll have a strategy going forward.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're at,
ACO, Tim?
technical stuff.
been given an opportunity to participate with 3 small ACOs. We're in the midst of a tiny open window in order to participate. And these are by way of our participation in the the overlay provider network that we're a part of. And so by that route, we have access into the UW ACO, which now gives us the opportunity to contract with Boeing, with the Primera ACO product, and with have the Public Employees Benefits Program. So these are at no financial outlay for us because it's under the umbrella of open, so we don't have to pay a membership fee. So that's a non-membership fee structure. All the costs are actually borne by overlay. What's that? So the costs are borne by overlay. The other thing that we give up though is we will not be participating in shared savings. So we will be getting the experience, solely experience. So without any costs, without any revenue coming in either, there's $0 in there. But it is a wonderful entree. It will be small volumes of patients that we're talking about, but it still is that experience factor in participating with what kind of care. Be able to understand and interpret the analyses that come back and participation.
Is there a commitment on it?
To participating? Yes, but it's got an output, a fairly short output. I have to look at exactly what it is.
Did you find that out?
It's definitely less than 1 year. Jesus, but that's a big one for you all the contracts.
He's coming back.
Didn't know if there'd be a penalty or.
No, there is no financial, no financial.
No money, no money changes
No money
hands.
changes
hands.
part of this.
Right.
And this is not the contract that we have or what can. This is the ACO participation department.
It's not Medicare, it's commercial, but it
Yeah.
still gives us access to population health.
Information.
And health and care utilization,
Mm-hmm.
which really helps as we strive to transition our clinical operations toward an orientation of managing a patient population. This becomes, even though it's small, it becomes a very important engine to the whole transition and transformation of the clinic. In that it's not just conceptual only, it actually is real, although for a very small population. And it's hard to work concepts without some good data coming back that gives us at least some motivation.
I got a question on that.
I'm glad it was
Okay. Okay, we have a question for you.
Oh, sure.
You know, for any Boeing have and Primera ACO contracts with outsourcing.
The out clause. Yeah, well, and, I mean, it's, I think they're 3-year agreements. And so, you know, outside of, you know, breaching contract, of which, you know, the 3-year term would have to be honored. But, you know, so it's a 3-year term. But it's 0 cost, is what my understanding is.
So have you not looked at it to know what it says? I mean, do you know if we've got?
Why would I mean, those are contracts, they're pretty thick
Well,
contracts.
We need to know what's the out,
Yeah, let me read it.
what's the penalty, what are damages that could be recovered from us for any kind of termination? And can we, reassign these agreements?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't reassign.
No, you
them.
can't, no, there's
There
no.
is no financial penalty.
Yeah,
for
there's no
getting
financial-
out. There's no financial penalty for failure to perform.
Yeah, it's more
The
about.
only thing that happens.
Well,
is
then
you
why
get
have a
that
3-year commitment? What's,
Because they may want data exchange with
Yeah,
data.
it needs to be just agreed, so.
What if you-
participate there.
They can-
It's the upside for us and then.
Well, I agree with that, I totally understand that, but I don't wanna leave us in a situation where we're precluded from doing something else that we wanna do as a board strategy. And so the 3-year agreement, I wanna make sure that that doesn't prevent us from doing something that, down the line. And, so this 3-year agreement, what can be assessed to us? If we say, hey, see you later, why would we have to have a 3-year agreement? If we couldn't provide data for the 3 years, what could they do to us?
Right.
We don't wanna humble ourselves with respect to the future.
I totally get why we need to do this, but I just, I'm looking
Don't
at
let our
We
hands
totally
be
get-
tied.
We totally get your question.
Yeah.
We're all.
Okay,
I know,
so
this
if,
process don't look much different than yours.
yeah. So, yeah, again, these 3-year terms, we can immediately terminate actually, these are contracts with Overlake OPM. And so if there's any change in Overlake's status, whether, financial, or if there's a change in, say, Overlake shuts down, right, we can obviously immediately terminate.
Well, I'm looking at not unforeseeable circumstances.
Right.
I'm talking about foreseeable potentially, and
Right.
that's an
So-
intentional type of termination.
If, so another one, if Overlake becomes an affiliate or is acquired by a third-party ACO, the agreement terminates. If Overlake's participating provider agreement terminates for any reason, then this contract will terminate. So Overlake's got contracts with all these ACOs, so those contracts terminate.
Ours are also.
You want some time to,
Yeah.
I do this and then
So, yeah, that'd be fine.
let us know.
We can,
No,
so
no.
here's the termination without cause. So we can, there's an out, neither party may terminate without cause before December 31, 2016. A party may provide a written notice of its intent to terminate effective December 31, 2016, with written notice, prior, well, we have to-
So we're, I mean, that's
That's not a big deal there. It's
No.
just the end of the
Right.
year. But
Yeah, what about after that?
I just
Right.
know Overlake, and I don't
This
trust them.
This isn't overlay,
but-
this is,
OPM,
this
okay.
is, this contract's coming, that you're reading is coming out of Boeing and Delta ACO.
Right, right.
Coming out of Boeing?
Boeing ACO.
12/31, and so if we don't notify them by 12/31, then what?
Thereafter, okay, so then if we don't terminate by December 31, then, I mean, there's a tier, depending on when we terminate the timeline, it's a tier, so why don't I just.
Why don't you do a little,
Yeah,
if you could do that, then, that'd
Right.
be great.
In
The
simple
purpose of this
language.
meeting was, I thought the purpose of today's meeting was to just provide the agreements, and then we can kind of briefly, kind of the 30,000 foot level, we'll talk about it, and then come back with questions, some, like,
Well, this
This
is the
is gonna
question we
be on
have.
the agenda?
It's gonna be on the agenda as a
Yeah.
vote.
it has to,
So,
it needs to be because of the timeline.
because,
Yeah.
we need to have this.
Yeah.
You have the documents that were sent first.
so what I can do though is I will clarify the termination.
Yeah.
To-
It's not that I don't,
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
know
it's
we
absolutely-
need,
no, it's important
but
information.
I don't want us, like,
Yeah.
get it, so we do. Yeah.
Got it.
That's the term.
Okay.
All right, so I think that's,
Do you have any questions?
no, good these things are, because I already know, I've been told 150 times that they're great things to do, so, just see what the consequences are.
Essentially, it's a 180-day notice. If you don't fund it by December this year, it's a 180-day notice.
Oh,
That's a section 6, but I'll put it forward.
yeah, that'd be great, so we can
And
rest assured, the rest
I
of
should,
the
the rest
board
of them
members.
forward, upfront.
Sure. So. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have one other agenda item that's called
We
other.
do?
It's called other.
Oh,
And I'd like to,
I actually had a couple questions on this.
I'd just like to throw, oh, what?
And what I'll do is I'll give this,
Do I get to
highlighted,
read?
I'll just send them to Steve, so we don't.
Okay. And that is, I'd like to introduce an idea about when and where we have this meeting and our board meetings. We have had now a couple of public meetings at the hospital in the downstairs conference rooms. So we're doing a lunch and learns there, and of course we have a planning session there. We have, I'll just tell you, if there's one thing I would like to redesign for the hospital, would be access to downstairs conference rooms, but we have figured out how to make that happen. We've got a route now, we've got signings to help people get down there and get back. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to move this committee meetings, and I'd also like to move our board meetings to the hospital in an effort to provide more opportunity for the public to come into the hospital and expose our hospital to people that we serve. It also provides a real help to staff for less travel time, and I know Valerie doesn't like to call them out, but there's a lot of setup, especially for the board meeting, of hauling of materials for the board meetings. So that's one proposal, and that's venue changes. And then the other would be the date of the panel board. And that's right now on the first, we've got that tight time window between the end of this meeting, finance meeting, and the board meeting. And if we have our board meetings on the second Thursday rather than on the first Thursday, we'd really be able to have enough time for finance committee to do its work and, you know.
And also time to get it out to
Get
the
it-
board
get it
so
out
that
to the
they
board.
have time to digest it.
So I have, Valerie and I have gone over the calendar, and I'll say Valerie 85%, Tom 15%. But Valerie said she looked at it and let me know that really having it on the second Thursday, she cannot see how that is going to create downstream problems for the other committees or any other work that we do with, and would really alleviate this crunch that we create in finance.
Now, does that mean changing the bylaws?
It would.
Yeah, but,
We just make an amendment, right?
yeah, and we also, well, our regular meetings are set by resolution every January, so we just pass it as a resolution.
In January.
Or now.
But I think that they aren't, isn't the schedule,
It says
doesn't say first Thursday
Yeah, it does
in
say
the,
first
in the
Thursday.
bylaws?
It does.
So we'd want to change that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
But, I'm, in every one of our committee meetings, this month, I'm throwing the idea out for the commissioners to ponder that. There's no rush to do this, I just want to have you think about it, and let me know your thoughts, don't have this, let me know today.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, determination.
So will that be on the agenda then?
Nope, nope, it's not on the agenda for this meeting, it's, on the other item for all the committees for us to talk about. Yep.
So, who have you covered? You covered finance now.
Cover finance.
Medical.
No, we got to the first committee to cover the thing.
Okay, so it's gonna be at least a month.
Right, so it's not a rush.
All right, it'd be really convenient to have these up here. Especially if there's stuff in offices that questions come up, be able to walk right down the hall.
I don't have any problem.
I don't have any problem with it either, at all.
You know,
It's closer for me than this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's about the same.
All right.
Well, you look like you're ready to go out in the woods.
I'm gonna go right now.
He said it.
It's called the office woods.
All righty.
Thank
All right,
you,
thanks.
gentlemen.
Good meeting, thank you.
Thank you. By the way, David, whenever I go by your house, Saturday,